What's up, BB Besties? I have a live feed update.
Hey, BB friends, here's a quick update.
Welcome to the Girl Gab podcast. Join your hosts, Allie and Nikki, as they break down the latest in pop culture, TV, and whatever else they feel like gabbing about. Girl Gab starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Gab podcast. My name is Nikki and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Reality Allie. Allie, what is up? How are you tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. There's a lot of news that we have to dive into.
There truly is. So let's just not even hesitate. Let's jump right on in. So the number one thing that we're going to talk about today to start off this episode is the Hulu convention that happened this week. There was a lot of things announced, but really we want to focus on, obviously, Dancing with the Stars. There was a big announcement that came from Dancing with the Stars. They revealed one of their celebrities that will be on the cast of this upcoming season this fall. So, Allie, tell us who that celebrity is.
Robert Irwin is the son of the late Steve Irwin, who we all remember. Crikey! Steve Irwin from Discovery Network. And obviously brother of Bindi Irwin, who is Dancing with the Stars season 34.
That's what I was going to say, 33, 34, somewhere in there.
Yeah, something like that. It was a while ago. Winner was
Derek
his sister Bindi Irwin, won with Derek Huff. So I'm pleasantly surprised. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Bindi was great. I do know even in past interviews, Robert has said like it's something I would love to do, but I don't think I would do as well as Bindi. But I just think that a lot of times the guys have a little bit of an easier route on Dancing with the Stars, and he has a ton of fandom right now that truly I don't think he has anything to worry about. I think he will fare just fine on this upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars, truly.
Yeah, men have an easier time on Dancing with the Stars. My grandmother, who is like 80 something years old, I have always watched Dancing with the Stars, even, it came out in the year 2002, 2000. I mean, it's been a while. Maybe not 2002, but it's 2005. I don't know. It's been a while. I was like in middle school, elementary school. I don't know. And my grandma would always be like, all those guys have to do is stand there and those girls just twirl around them. And it's valid. Like that's the argument I have every single year. So I do agree with you that it is a little bit easier for men to be successful. The women also, I think the nature of the show's viewership is primarily and predominantly female. And so like when you have female voters and then you have Robert Irwin, who just admitted that they asked him to put a snake around him and take his shirt off and walk around, like, they're appeasing to that. And then you have Bruno, who's like, oh, every time he takes his shirt off, but that's not to say that he won't be fantastic. A question that I posed on my TikTok about this was almost every year there's somebody that's announced early on as like an actual confirmed star, and I always wonder, is that person at a significant advantage? Let's just theoretically say he's confirmed, no one else is confirmed. Sure, there might be conversations, but he's confirmed, no one else is confirmed. Is he at an advantage? Does that mean he can already start? Not to say that like somebody else isn't already having conversations and they can potentially practice too, but like he might know who his pro is already. Like I personally would like to see him with Riley, but that's just my opinion. But I wonder like what advantages he has, especially, and also he has a sister who can give him pointers, but like that's already an advantage. But like he could be practicing, he could be YouTubing, he could be, I don't know. What do you think?
Right.
We have people speculated all the time, like Trisha Paytas, like she's been speculated forever. So like it's not to say that people are in conversations, but I don't know.
100% though, if they have more of a heads up, they can prepare much better than someone who is getting thrown into it literally last minute. 100%.
I think that's the competition reality watchers in us, that we always want to make sure nobody's disenfranchised on a show.
I will say though, like the only advantage it really gives is if he can be capable of dancing, you know what I mean? Like for the people that are going to be really bad, it doesn't matter how much of a heads up they've got. They're gonna be bad. But if he's someone that is decent, and then it's like there's just little tiny bits between him and like another really good guy or something, you can definitely say that that timeline was an advantage for him. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree. And I guess I should have mentioned this before we started recording, but since we're on the Dancing with the Stars topic, I should mention we did have additional Dancing with the Stars news. I don't know if you know about that or not, though. We have a relationship that has sparked from Dancing with
Yes.
the Stars. Yeah, so we have a hard launch
The hard launch heard
from
around the world.
Emma and Alan,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because, I know you didn't really watch too much of this past season, but it was heavily speculated that Emma and
Mm-hmm.
Alan were dating or in some sort of situationship. A lot of articles came out in around like October-ish about that, which was definitely during the season. And it
Mm-hmm.
was so scandalous because Emma only in 2024 finalized her divorce with Sasha. And Sasha is rumored to be dating Jen
Mm-hmm.
from The Bachelor, Jen Tran. So, yeah, that was super interesting in light of that coming out. I loved the way they did it. Anyone who's listening that didn't get to see it, there's a lot of videos on YouTube and on TikTok, but the Dancing with the Stars live tour, which, by the way, I would love to attend one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the very final show, and they had a dance where the two of them were doing some sort of dance, and they it was like a kind of a romantic thing, and then they shared a little
Kissed at the end there.
smoocheroonie at the end.
And then jumped right back into normal choreography.
Went right back to it. And about a week or so before that, they had posted some stuff on social media that people were starting to spark up interest again. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, I'm interested to see who Emma is partnered with. Emma was partnered with Carl Winslow.
Yeah.
He will forever be Carl Winslow for me. And I love that for her. And like, it was truly like almost had me in tears watching him on Dancing with the Stars last season. I would like to see her getting someone that I think she could really like. I guess I shouldn't say
Make
she
it
can
farther
shine
with.
because like I was gonna say she could really shine with. She really she did really shine with him because her treatment towards him was so fair and so just I love that about her. I would like to see her with like an athlete or an Olympic athlete maybe, or like a football player or something, somebody that we know like gets a lot of votes and like she could really train to be a really good dancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If she's chosen as a pro. The last couple of seasons we've gone back down in numbers for how many stars we have, so there's naturally been less pros. But
I think it would be crazy for them to not choose Emma because of the Alan and Emma situation. And there's absolutely no way that Alan, Ezra, and Riley will not be pros. I loved that they had Ezra and Riley be like the hosts of the Dancing with the Stars part of this Hulu thing, because it really played into and kind of almost gave thanks to them for this being such an iconic season as far as ratings and votes and different things like that. And a lot of it had to do with their social media presence and them sharing about their life on the show and all of that different kind of stuff on social media. So I just don't see a world where those three are not pros this upcoming season.
And Dancing with the Stars, ABC in general played into that as well during the season because they had behind the scenes footage that I believe primarily Emma and Ezra, once both of them were eliminated with their stars, they either would go on TikTok live or Instagram live. They would flip flop, but just kind of like have like a, hey, if you want to watch this, during the show, and I watched a few of those. That was kind of cool, but yeah. So I'm excited about Dancing with the Stars. And then there was something else that we needed to talk about in reality TV world as far as pop culture news, which is Big Brother related. Both Nikki and I are extremely pumped about this one. Today, okay, so let me back up. So a few days ago, I caught a few days ago that Big Brother seemed to be like lukewarming up their Facebook page, and they posted like just a little like, I don't know what you call it, like a little just promo, like not for the season, but
almost
just
like a meme, but
just like a meme kind of. Yeah, but they have been quiet because, like you said, because the only other posts, because I even scroll back, I was like, I don't think they've been posting. I haven't seen it on my timeline. And they hadn't. The only other posts that they really had was like, apply now for Big Brother or castings in process. That was it.
Or like
At this
posting the
point,
casting call locations or whatever for those.
right.
But like, yeah.
It is also today, we are recording on April 25th. So we are approximately 5 weeks away from June. And we could reasonably assume that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they will be narrowing down medical testings and things like that to move in towards
Producer interviews
sequester
and-
time. Because in the last several years, they stick with the 2 to 3 week sequesters. So, and which will move me into my next point, is the next thing we had posted was today by Miss Julie Chen Moonvesbot, and she let us know that, you could read whatever you want into this, but it essentially was like the cards are ready, and she had her, like, I don't think it had BB on it, but it was like, it was obviously cue cards. Cards are ready.
Cards are back.
Or cards are back. What was the other one that she said? And I can tell you. I took a screenshot.
Yeah, look it up because I have a different thing on here that I want to bring up.
It says the cards are back! Exclamation. The wardrobe is back! Exclamation. We'll see what's coming next. And she put the eyes looking this way, an angel emoji, and a house emoji. So to me, it was alluding to Big Brother, because what else does she do anymore other than Big Brother? And also those emojis were very indicative of Big Brother. And then her pictures that she posted was what appeared to be a cue card, a blank one, her wearing just like a red dress, and she's just like holding the cue card. And there was another picture of her just like posing for like potentially what I would guess are possibly Big Brother promo photos.
Yeah, 100%.
Her Big Brother promo photos.
Right. So
what are your thoughts?
Add to what you were saying, I went back through her post just now while you were talking about it. Prior to last season, she did not post a Big Brother kind of teaser thing until May 22nd.
Okay, so we should back up, because I guess I should say what my thought was, because I don't know that I said that. On my TikTok, I already posted the video, but my thought is that since we're getting it so early, perhaps we're moving back towards a mid-June / early July launch of BB, which is what we used to have. And in the more recent seasons, we've been having a mid to late July launch.
Yeah. I think that there's
and Nicolette slightly disagreed with some of my thoughts. So which parts did you agree? And I know you told me you disagreed and agreed with some of it.
The only thing I disagreed with was the reindeer games part.
Well, okay,
just because of
sorry,
celebrity.
I forgot to. So then my other thought was like, okay, if we're getting it earlier, then perhaps we have time for reindeer games. But then you mentioned celebrity, and I completely forgot about the alignment with Olympics
Winter
and
Olympics.
yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you on that now. I regret saying that on my video.
Yeah, the other theory that I have, though, it's because of all the mention of, like, things coming back, is a nod to potentially returning players for this season, which I think we're due for.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that have said that. I've seen other creators mention this. I've seen other Reddit posts talking about this. We are definitely due for this returning player. I think BB22 put a bad taste in Big Brother production mouth.
For a long time,
and viewers' mouths, truly. So they ruined that. Nicole Franzel ruined that for us. But
I think also, though, there's just a lot of other opportunities for some of the people, and it's hard to get some of them to come back for the amount of money that CBS is willing to pay them.
Do you have any idea? I know the last time I checked, it's been like probably like 6 or 7 years, but it was only like 1,000, 1,500 a week. It was not enough for me personally to replace my personal income. So I could only imagine.
I know the last time I looked,
and I live in Kentucky, so it's not like I'm not in California or something where it's like I need.
The last time I looked, it was 1,500 as well, but that was before they upped the prize pot to the 750. Valid. So like it has to be a little bit more now, and I do know that returners are paid more than newbies, but even still, like, just because I've heard Brittany talk about it on her Patreon, that like CBS, no matter which show it is, I think it's been in conversations with Carolyn where they're talking
Low
about
pay.
both. Yeah, CBS pays like the lowest out of any other network. And so it's like, if they are able to go to these other networks and do other things, why would they want to come back and play Big Brother? Because it's not only the pay is low,
Right.
but it's longer. It's a lot more like mentally and emotionally draining, all of those different kinds of things. So,
Yeah. So, in my perspective, you're not really going to get a returnee like a Janelle or even maybe even
no.
a Davon or somebody that has like a younger child like at home. You're not going to get somebody that has anything less than a teenager because it's not really going to behoove them to leave for that long with the risk of not winning. I'm excited to think what I'm thinking might be true because this is very early for Julie to already be not only
posting.
Julie, but now we have the confirmation of Big Brother also posting, and then Julie also shared some of the shit that Big Brother posted. So like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's giving we're getting an earlier season than usual.
Which
How
would be
early? I don't
phenomenal.
know. Love for it to be because
Ugh.
like you and I have been complaining about the algorithm and all the things. I feel like that's really going to help our algorithms on TikTok get back to what they used to be and like our community. I just love the BB community that we have.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for everyone to like get back to posting again and like get back to chatting again in comments and like
All of it.
I'm so excited.
I don't have to think about what to watch for months on end because I just know. It's just always on. Even if the TV is muted, it's on. If I'm walking into another room, it's on my phone. Like, I'm not missing a minute. I don't know.
I will not.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I will not binge anything else. Like, I will be. It will be like, you know, maybe
this is
before.
Another reason though that I need a June season because The Summer I Turned Pretty does come out late July. I need that to be kind of like where the season's in a little bit of a lull, just long enough for me to binge that, and then I can jump right back into the live feeds because I've got to find out if they're going to screw us over on how this series is going to end, or is it going to be Team Conrad the way it's fucking supposed to be. Last season, I skipped out until the end. This time, I can't because I have to ensure that it's Team Conrad.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
I was very confused for a second because I was like, why is she talking about being pretty? Because like I was like, the summer you're about to turn pretty. Like, are you planning a glow up? Like, I mean, I don't think you're ugly. So I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
a lot of people will know what I was talking about though, but
is this a show? Is it?
It's a book series that's been turned into a TV series.
Like Gossip Girl or something.
Somewhat, yeah, but not like it's definitely lovey-dovey.
Okay, cool. So valid. And I will not like you. Okay, so if Dancing with the Stars, it's a fall lineup. So like obviously it's gonna come on after Big Brother, I'll watch it. If Survivor, it'll come on, you know, we have the Amazing Race. Okay, so that's another thing I said in my video. Let me just like squirrel brain, sorry. But like I did mention the Amazing Race thing, and that does make sense to me that they would want Big Brother to start a little earlier because Amazing Race typically, if they're this season we did not get a fall Amazing Race, which is unusual. Normally we get a fall and a spring. We did not get a fall because we had the Summit airing, but I assume it's because we had the Summit airing. I really don't know that, but I'm going to assume because why would you have the Summit and the Amazing Race? Because like those shows are really similar.
Yeah.
So we did not have a fall. This year we are confirmed to be getting the fall, and we are confirmed that it is going to be the Big Brother season. And I don't want to like spoil it for anyone, but we already know for a fact they've already filmed it, or they are filming currently. So my thing is, if that goes with the normal cadence, we would get Big Brother. Okay, let's look at last season. You get Big Brother mid July, about around July 15th, 16, 17, something like that. By the first week of August, you're getting, or first or second week of August, you're getting Survivor, and approximately 1 week after the first Survivor week, you're getting Amazing Race.
Amazing Race.
Let's push that up. If we have Big Brother for a month before that, then it gives people time to like ease into all of these shows, and plus like nothing else happens over the summer, so there's no reason in my perspective not to give us Big Brother. And with the social media boom we just talked about, I think it would behoove us to have separation, because then people can allow these trends on the algorithm to roll out. And the speculation I'm seeing now is that algorithm the algorithm is moving from random to more searchable content, which is
Yeah.
a controversial topic because they're like, oh, it's turning into YouTube. But like, if that's the case, so for example, I noticed the Big Brother video I posted about, oh, I'm so excited, Julie Chen or whatever, the searchable bar that popped up is about JoJo Siwa, and I said nothing about JoJo Siwa. I said nothing about Celebrity BB. I only talked about Big Brother and Julie Chen. But that's the searchable bar that came up. If that's the algorithm we're moving to, not that Big Brother cares about algorithms, but I think that they should.
Big Brother used to play heavily into social media, so if they've been seeing
For sure.
the trends of the different other reality shows, I would not be surprised if they are trying to kind of jump into that themselves. Because I remember like the first time I ever learned about like Snapchat glasses or something was on the live feeds of Big Brother, because they gave it to the house guests to like use so that they could post it to a CBS Big Brother Snapchat story. I think that was
What
in
about
season 16.
BB Over the Top? You watched? I
did. Yeah.
I think I was like pregnant during that time, so I just did it. I was not. But that was one of my first, I guess, experiences with like Big Brother starting to really incorporate outside forces, because they really pushed people being chronically online. BB Over the Top.
The feeds, there were no feed cuts.
I think it was a little bit
everything.
I think if they brought that back now, it would be so much more successful. Like, it was a little bit before its time, right?
It was a little bit before its time, but literally the feeds never cut. You were there
I'm sad I
for
missed it.
all competitions. They had one night a week where you had live diary room sessions where they just kind of had a prompt in the diary room that asked the same questions to everyone. And I mean, we saw them setting up for competitions.
I love that.
There was literally 0 times that the feeds cut during that season. It was phenomenal.
A little bit of old school BB, because there was, of course, you know, you and I both have talked about how like you used to pay for live feeds, so like we both weren't watching live feeds on that respect. But BB After Dark is when once BB After Dark was on cable is when I actually started getting into the live feeds, and it was just because I grew up poor, so it wasn't like I could subscribe to anything on AOL. But I do remember on After Dark sometimes seeing them like practice for competitions, like the Chima thing. I remember watching that on BB After Dark, like her throwing that in the pool, because they would show those things. They don't, if they do have practices now, they don't show them, and they don't allow us to see the house guests talking about them.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, on Over the Top, we saw them play the competitions live. It wasn't
Which
just
is crazy.
practices.
I love that. I wish I watched it now.
Literally from the second that the first person walked into the doors, because they came in, it wasn't like Julie on the stage and people came in groups. It was one by one that people came into the house. So from the second that first person opened the door to enter the house till the second the season was over, we saw everything.
I love it.
It was great. Great.
I love that. They won't ever do that again.
No.
No one would ever agree to that again. And I hate that. But I do. That's
okay. It was very toxic. There was very much 2 sides of the house, which then created 2 sides online. And the final 2 people were one person from each side of the house. America was very involved as almost like another player. We got to vote and nominate and all these different kinds of things. And the BB streets were very toxic. There were Facebook during
groups
Over the
being
Top.
formed over top of this.
Yeah.
So, okay, so like that brings up something else. I did post on Easter Sunday. I was like, you know, I was just feeling like I was in the BB mood. I filmed some BB Memory Lane episodes, and I was like, you know, like let me ask what everybody's looking for. I asked, what is everyone looking for in terms of like twists for BB 27? Because we know there's going to be twists. Big Brother is twist heavy. I'm not a huge fan of twists, but what I said that I would like to have if I have to choose a twist, what I would like to see come back is, and this is turning into a Big Brother episode, and I'm so sorry. I would like to see, what did I say? Battle back. I would like to see a true old school battle back come back. And by that, I mean like 4 people, not 2 people coming back in the house as zombies. I don't want to ever see that again. That was the worst. Actually, I thought that was the worst thing ever until Janky Wink. And then I was like, this is the worst week ever. In
No,
fact,
I
it was.
survived Janky. I survived Janky Week. I quit watching after the zombie apocalypse episode of season 25, and I've never looked back.
Well, I know. You like literally couldn't even finish the season after that, right?
It's the only season of Big Brother I've never finished to this day.
Okay, so 20 and 21 are like those teeth pulling seasons for me. So I get it. But my issue with Janky Week was the live feeds. It was like, ha ha. It was literally like watching Whoville on the Grinch. Ha Who chorus.
100%
It was so bad. And it was painful to watch them. The only people having fun were Angela and Leah. And I like love that for them. And I love that they truly embraced it. And that does show like their character as true sports. But like, and then they had the whole like cot gate with
Chelsea, MJ, Cam. Yeah.
But
anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is I want a true battle back. I want like 4 to 5 people, probably 4 is usually what we get, coming back, the first 4 jurors coming back for a competition, and the winner of said competition. And also, I do not want that competition to be solely physical.
I was getting ready to say, and it needs to be an equitable competition, because typically it's always an endurance competition.
I'm fine with endurance even. I don't want to.
That's still really physical, though. I'd rather it be.
I would rather it be endurance than like, I'm thinking of another example. What was the one that Jesse came back on? Not Jesse, Victor. Whatever. You know what I mean?
The puzzles?
There are some that are just a puzzle. There are some, but the puzzles I would venture to say are also physical, because typically before the puzzle, there's something else involved that is like.
Yeah, for the Victor one, it was like a rock climbing puzzle. You still had to like climb up a wall while you were putting the puzzle together.
I want to see like the golfing.
Yeah, freaking chance. Yeah. Leave it up to chance. Draw, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Nikki and I are team equitable comps always, and I will stand on that hill and die on it for freaking ever. But yeah, so I want to see an old school battle back. You said food
comps, which isn't a twist.
It's not a twist, but it is now. And OG, it's always been involved. So you're right. It's not a twist because it's always been a thing. But now it's a twist because it's not always a thing. And the thing about the food comps is a lot of people agreed with you. They weren't necessarily responding to you, but I saw that they were just making posts in general. And they were saying like PB&Js, which I would put that in the same category as the food comp like thought process. Because here's my thing. I agree with you. However, I want one or the other. Either just don't do it at all or do it. I'm super excited to move on to our next topic.
Yeah.
Which is Survivor. We both have watched Survivor this week, and before I'll let you guide us through that, but like I just want to say this. Decided at random that I was going to do, I hadn't been keeping up with my like power rankings. I decided to do one. I was like, this is how I do those based on like my true, I don't look at other shit. I just go off of what I've watched, my vibes, and what I know about edits, etc., etc., etc. Now, Jeff Probst this season has been very frank about we don't use whatever. All the stuff that we speculate he says is not true. Whatever. I didn't even put that into consideration. I went off of vibes and I went off of edits. My second person I ranked is the one that went home. So I put one other person before this.
Well, we said last week that the 2 people's names that were written down were the 2 people in the most dangerous spots.
Right.
On the episode last week.
Yeah, so the 2 people are like, yeah. Anyway, so I'll let you walk us through like the full episode, because I thought it was actually a really good episode. I know there's been some controversial opinions though online, I've noticed, just from creators. Some creators don't like the season, and I disagree. I think this is a pretty good Survivor season. I know you didn't watch last season or the last few seasons in their entirety, so I would love to know your opinion on what you think of.
I mean, like I said, I think I said it last week, I have complaints about how New Era kind of goes, but I'm still finding it entertaining. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still entertaining season to watch. But yeah, so to kick off the episode, it's just kind of like that post-tribal fallout from the previous episode. One part that I really loved was David goes up to Camilla and is like, obviously I floated your name around, and he gave some BS reason. of like why he was doing it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but Camilla literally looked at him and was like, yeah, no, I know, and you're a terrible liar. That's not why you did it, like, basically. And I was like, okay, Camilla. And then David carried on more about like the strong people sticking together, and that in previous seasons the strong people are just used as meat shields and blah blah blah, more rah 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 about the strong people, which as I was watching it, I was like, here's the deal. Are there people in multiple competitive reality shows that are used as meat shields? Yes. However, if you are being used as a meat shield, it is because you are a one-dimensional player. You bring nothing else to the table other than your physicality. If you were able to be a little bit more strategic and also win competitions, you wouldn't be used as just a meat shield. If you also had brains to go along with the brawn, you wouldn't be seen as just a meat shield. So, like, that's kind of on you if that's how you feel like you're being set up here. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think David specifically, neither of us have had very high opinions about him from casting. Not before even watching a single video version of an interview. I think just from the written versions and picture form, we did not have high opinions about David. And I think the last 2 episodes in particular have proven our predictions to be correct about him.
Yeah.
I think something I said in my prior to the episode, this week's episode airing, in my predictions, is that David's inflexibility is going to be a problem for him. Last week, I don't remember if I said it on the podcast or not, but his inflexibility with Kyle, I just truly, the more I reflected on that, the more I just didn't sit right with me. Because while you could also make the same argument for Kyle, that Kyle was truly pushing too hard for Camila, and I would agree that he also pushed a little too hard for Camila on the episode last week's episode. I don't think that it became a problem for him this episode the way that I maybe thought it could. I think I was accurate in believing that that inflexibility was going to come back to bite David, in addition to, you don't ask Joe to go back on his fucking word.
No, you don't accuse him. Yeah.
And ask. He accused him, and then he was like, well, can we just do this? And Joe continued to be like, I'm not doing that. Like, I gave my word. I'm a man of my word.
Yeah.
I saw a creator do the video, and I don't think I'd ever seen a video of this creator's before. And she was like, she put a picture of Joe in that hammock like this. She was like, if I send you this meme, if I send you this picture, it means I'm not changing my mind.
Yeah.
I am keeping my word.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going back on my word.
I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, in the previous episode, Kyle kind of pushed really hard, but Kyle was able to recover way better. And it's because Kyle was able to have those good conversations with Joe, Eva, Shaheen, all those things, to where David and Mary just kept pushing the same narrative that they were pushing the week before. They didn't adapt. They didn't flex. Nothing at all. Which, speaking of Mary,
I didn't have high opinions about Mary. I still do not have high opinions about Mary.
No, I still at the beginning of the episode was confused about how she ended up in this group of people. I'm still confused on how it even happened. But then when we got to the challenge, she's the first one out. And I'm like, how the fuck did she end up in the Strong People Alliance? Not only that, but as David's number one, the guy pushing the strong people kind of like storyline the most, and you got Mary who can't win shit. She came from the original Green Tribe that didn't win anything. She ain't winning anything. She's not even finishing like mid to top of the competitions. She's bottom performer on the physical challenges. How did she end up in the Strong People Alliance?
And she talks too damn much.
Yeah. Like, I truly am so confused.
I don't know how it happened, but I think David is leaning towards her because who else did he have?
Yeah, true. Just throughout the whole episode, there were just certain times where I literally jotted down, and again, why is Mary here? And again, how did Mary get put in the alliance, even though XYZ?
I wasn't a Say fan, and I'm also not a Mary fan. That whole argument between the two of them, that whole tiff, was like a bad taste in my mouth in general towards both of them. I wasn't really picking a side because I thought it was petty on both of their sides, and I got the whole perspective of like both of them are playing different games and playing hard. I just think that both of them were playing bad games. I didn't think either game was good. I know a lot of people were like,
Yeah.
oh, neither game is bad. I didn't think either game was good, personally.
I was just really indifferent about both of them. I didn't like or dislike them. I thought their tiff was a little bit entertaining, but I've not been a fan of Mary since the merge, and I truly am confused as to how she ended up
So
to where
let
she
me ask
is.
you this before I know you need to move us through, but I have a question first. How do you feel about now that we have, like, I guess spoiler alert, now that we have Mary and David split up, how do you feel about Camila and Kyle? And because we had essentially 3 duos, right?
Uh-huh.
So how do you feel about Camila and Kyle versus Joe and Eva, and then Mary somewhere in the random middle now without David? How do you feel about that? And what do you think is going to happen? I think, I'll give you my opinion. I think Joe and Eva are the stronger between, because they're absolutely unbreakable.
Yes.
I'm not saying Kyle and Camila aren't unbreakable yet.
She's leaning pretty close on Shaheen as well. She's still definitely a
Right.
lot stronger with Kyle. She has some other options to where Eva doesn't.
And
However,
Kyle is more with Camila than Camila. Not saying Camila's not with Kyle, she is. But Kyle, I think, values that relationship more. Eva and Joe equally value their relationship, and equally are fucking ride or dies. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no going backsies. I don't ever see that happening between the two of them. If it does,
I don't either. But I'm
America
sick of
will
them.
be up in arms
Not
at
me.
whichever one of them.
I am preying on the downfall of one of the two of them. I don't even care which one it is.
I mean, it would make for good TV.
I'm sick of them.
But I could think of one or two of the people in my comment section that would be particularly perturbed by a breakup between that, you know?
Sorry to that person.
Sorry, I just had to ask your thoughts on that, but keep going through the episode.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though. Anyways, so there's a couple different, really just like majority of the rest of the scenes before the challenge are just everyone talking about the week before in different little subsections of the quote unquote core 6 and how they're feeling about David and Mary and all the paranoia that they're bringing to everyone and how they're annoyed with the paranoia. But then like Joe is buying into it quite a bit when he talks to like Kyle and Shaheen, but Eva's the one that keeps bringing him back around and being like, we can't buy into the paranoia. We have to stay strong and just keep trusting David and Mary and Kyle and Shaheen, blah, 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 blah. So then we see Eva go do her advantage, which she got on the last episode. And she has to sneak out of camp to go to it.
Yes.
And Shaheen sees her sneaking out of camp.
Which was like, I hate scary movies. And I'm not going to lie. Like, it was, I didn't like it. I was like, because they like showed him with his hoodie, like,
I know.
Like his little shadow. I didn't like it. I don't like scary stuff. I didn't like scary movies. And it gave me the heebie-jeebies.
That's hilarious.
I didn't like it.
What did you think? So, okay, he sees her going. He puts the pieces together that, like, she's definitely going on, like, to do some kind of advantage situation. And then he ends up waking up Joe.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know if you did you watch the video that I posted about the power ranking?
I don't think I did.
So something in that, well, it probably didn't go to your FYP. Something in that video I said is that Joe is in the best position. Okay, spoiler alert, he's my number one. Not my number one, but he's the person I have in the most likely place to win. And you could argue, like, why not Eva? Because people don't go to Eva the same way that they go to Joe. Joe is not only someone who everyone trusts, but everyone goes to for advice. Everyone goes to for input. Everyone goes to for criticism. Everyone goes to for, like, literally Joe is being included in every single thing. Whereas we just saw that play out the way that I said it before the episode even happened. Look at what happened. Like you just said, Shaheen sees Eva doing something, wakes up Joe. Shaheen knows how close they were on the same tribe from the jump. Shaheen knows how close Joe and Eva are, but he still thought, let me wake up Joe and tell him about this. I'm just saying it proves me right that Joe is in the best position. Something else I said in my video, this is just like a side note but something else I said in my video is that I put Mitch in the final 5. I put Mitch at final 4 because I said they cannot let Mitch go to final 3. Mitch will win. and I don't know if you know this, but like New Age Survivor, it's Final 3.
Yeah.
They cannot let Mitch go to Final 3. Mitch, there is absolutely no way. You've heard me say this off air too, but there's no way Mitch is going to Final 3 and the jury's not voting for him. And we saw that happen on the episode. Like, I was so impressed with myself because we saw that happen on the episode. Eva literally said almost verbatim what I said in my video, that like Mitch has a great story. Like, Mitch is very likable. He's not somebody that we want. Like, they were considering Mitch.
Yeah.
And I knew that Mitch is going to go further. Somebody else that I was impressed by this episode was Star.
Mm-hmm.
I had predicted that Star would go to Final 3 because of the women left. If not Eva, Star. And the only reason Eva is in more danger than Star because of Eva's positioning with Joe. But let's say Eva leaves, Star has the best position to go to Final 3 because between Star and Camila, Star is a better person to take. And between Star and Mitch, if we're in a Final 5 situation, and I really do think Star goes to Final 5, look at Star and Mitch. Who are you going to pick? You're going to take Star with you. Nobody's going to really vote for Star, or so we think right now. Everyone's voting for Mitch. That'd be a huge mistake. Eva, a lot of people are going to vote for Eva. Huge mistake. Star, I think, is that person that they can creep through, kind of like Carolyn Weiger. So that's my opinion. As a person who's only watched a few full seasons of the new era, I definitely watched from 40.
Yeah, I don't know. I want Eva to leave. That's how I feel. So
let me know your thoughts. What do you think? I mean, as a person, this is your first season in the new era watching every single episode. I know you've watched some episodes and you've watched some like seasons that are like, oh, this person that I remember seeing from the past is coming on. But like, this is your first season, like new era, fully invested, keeping up with internet and live time watching. What are your perspectives on, you haven't been doing power rankings or anything, so like what are your perspectives on like who's in the best? I know you kind of agree with me about Joe, but like who's in good positions and who's in really bad positions aside from David, who just went home?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I do think that out of everyone, Joe is in the best position, even above Eva, because we saw a little bit in this episode about like Joe was a little bit more open to the conversations about flipping on David a lot sooner than Eva was.
Yes.
And I think that's just adaptability, kind of. You know what I mean? He saw how things were shifting and he was willing to kind of make that move because it logically made sense, to where Eva was like really kind of pumping the brakes a little bit. The only like negative thing that I think I jotted down about Joe's game currently is that like David's reads weren't completely wrong about the Camilla Kyle Shaheen situation. He actually had some of that correct. Yeah. And there was a conversation between David and Joe where David was like talking to him about his thoughts and feelings on that situation. And Joe's response was kind of like that he didn't see it the same way. He didn't have that same read. So that's like the only negative that I have down on this episode about Joe, is that like he doesn't have a full read on everyone in his alliance, because some people are seeing some things that he's not. He has a blind spot basically. But that's like the only negative thing I see about Joe's game currently. But I also still think that even though he has that blind spot, Kyle and Shaheen still have a ton of trust in Joe, where I don't think it's necessarily like a detriment to his game at this point. But that's like his only weak spot that I see currently.
Yeah. I fear that I am correct about the casting and my ranking, and that I'm going to be slightly bored. I mean, it is thrilling to be correct, because like it's hard to be this right all the time. But
personally,
you know what I
be
mean?
mad.
Like I feel like I'm not going to get, like last season we got some twists and turns and we were shocked a few times. I don't feel like I'm really been too shocked this season. And I think that's the argument I've seen from some other creators saying like,
it's predictable almost.
I'm still entertained by the stories of the characters that we have.
Yeah, and I really personally wouldn't be mad if Joe wins the season, but I would just like to see Eva not make it much farther. That's just my take on it.
We are so controversial. I love this.
That's my take on that. But anyways, okay, so she goes and gets even more power in the game because she goes and does her little advantage whatever where all she has to do is randomly pick the correct scroll out of 2. Extremely hard, I know. And with that, she gets the safety without power is what it's called.
So she just gets to
if
walk away from tribal.
She gets to walk away from tribal. Yep. And she can use that down to 7. So that's what, like 2 more tribal councils after this one that she has to use that one, I think. So, anyways, kudos to her. She has an idol and a secret power, and she's in a really strong alliance. So, my hope for her to be gone is probably not going to happen, but it would be great if in a perfect world, she would leave next week with both powers in her hands.
She would only go if Kyle and Camila are able to pull off a blindside, and I don't anticipate that being the possibility considering the way this last episode went. It appears to me as though they would prefer to align with Eva and Joe. Also, something else about her little venture off, I would have never even considered saying yes to that last option where it was like you could risk it one more time for the immunity, because it's only going to be valid for 2 more tribals, and you're taking a 50-50 shot at this point because you're either going to walk back with nothing or you can guarantee you're walking back with something. I would have just I agreed with her positioning on keeping the, what did you call it? Walk away from tribal council.
Power without earth.
I would have chosen that. I wouldn't have even considered rolling the dice one more time.
No, I agree. So then there's more, honestly, like most of
also,
this
how
episode,
the fuck did they set that shit up with all that fucking fire and shit? Like, how the fuck did they set that shit up? That's another reason why Fiji, they can do that shit. You know what I mean? Like, they can, I don't know. I just, I'm so tired of being on Fiji, but that's never going to change.
Yeah. And after that, she tells Joe, Kyle, and Shaheen the next morning about the power that she got and whatnot.
Right, and Joe was very clear that, like, because Shaheen immediately woke Joe up, and Joe was very clear about, like,
I'm not worried about it.
For a second in the edit, I was like, is this their moment where they...
Right.
But quickly, I was like,
Yeah. Most of the episode bits and pieces we get before the challenge are just more of the whole David and Mary versus Kyle Shaheen situation. Then we go to the challenge. Joe wins. David's salty about it. Thankfully, Joe picks Mitch to go on the reward, which I was really happy to see since Mitch literally hasn't gone on any. And then he also picks Shaheen and, of course, picks Eva.
Yeah, they made it look like he was, like, debating on picking her. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And again, I would be fine with Eva not getting at least one reward throughout the season. So that happens, and then they go to tribal.
Yeah, so they go to tribal, and exactly what I anticipated to happen happened.
Yes, and David, aka Milk Guy, is voted out. And that was the end of the episode. Which also brings us to the end of our episode.
If you were listening to this episode, I want you to know that we have now been recording for nearly 2 hours, and we also recorded something else prior to this. So we have been, it is Eastern. It is 12:41 a.m. and we have been recording since 8
Eastern.
PM. I tried to record.
Correct.
I tried to record at 7.
When you texted me that, I had literally just sat down to, like, put makeup on and try and, like, do something with my hair. And I was like, if I messed up this time and I have to go get on camera with the way I currently am looking, it is not going to be good, folks. It is not going to be good. So I was glad that we were able to figure that out.
Yeah, I had the time mixed up. So I have been pretty much woke up, went to work, and watched TV catch up and immediately recorded. So we have been recording for hours and hours. So good for us. That is the end of our episode. And I really enjoy all of you guys attending and listening every single week. The best thing you can do for us is to share our episodes because we are moving into the Big Brother season. If you do not listen to our Wednesday night episodes, please go ahead and tune in. We already have one of our special one-off Wednesday episodes that we are calling them Waffle Wednesday posted. It is about Evil Dick. We will be talking about a different Big Brother chaos creator every single week for the next 10 to 12 weeks or so until Big Brother gets announced. Based on what we just talked about on this episode,
Might
we may
not
have to
be
cut
10.
that short. We were,
Yeah.
but that's how that goes. But
Expect the unexpected, and we didn't listen.
Touche.
We got.
I hope we don't get got. But expect the unexpected from all of the Big Brother gods out there. I really appreciate all of you listening. Please make sure to keep up with all of us on our socials. You can find me at Reality Alley. Nicolette is
bookishtv.nicklin.
wasn't even gonna try it. And and also all of it, we both have like links in bio so you can find all of our other crap. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye.